Greetings, folks. Welcome to another date on Homo Politicus. We're reaching you from Enterprise TV here in Lagos. Today, let's consider this. Perceived police harassment of journalists and impunity. Media Rights Agenda MRA voices concern. Well, journalism is simply the practice of gathering, recording, verifying, and reporting on information of public importance. Whereas these general duties have been historically consistent, the particulars of journalistic process have evolved over time. In a 21st century world, journalism stands as a beacon of democracy, navigating through the noise of the internet and social media to deliver accurate, impartial news. And this brings the journalist face to face with government and those in authority. The Media Rights Agenda, MRA, was established in 1993 as an independent, non-partisan, non-governmental organization for the purpose of promoting and protecting the rights to freedom of expression, media freedom, and access to information. The MRA has warned of harassment of journalists, fostering a climate of impunity. According to it, the arbitrary arrest and other forms of attacks on media professionals by security agencies pose a threat to press freedom and democracy in our country. Let's have a discussion. My discussants are familiar to you, but let's meet and greet two practitioners in no particular order. Let's salute Cyril Abaku, broadcaster and national affairs commentator. Cyril, I greet you.
Thank you, Citizen.
Cyril is joined by the irrepressible Emeka Madonagu, journalist and political affairs commentator. Emeka, welcome.
Yeah, I greet you, great citizen. Hello, viewers.
Yeah, gentlemen, Michael Jackson's song "Man in the Mirror" becomes relevant here. So we are mirroring us. So let's go there. Yeah. MRA has voiced that concern. Do you share the sentiment?
Well, I think, yes, MRA was actually spot on in talking about the harassment of journalists. You know, under the previous administration and the current administration, you know, the attacks on journalists have risen. It's as if there is, you know, there is a deliberate attempt by security agencies, especially the police and the DSS, to demean journalists, to make journalists look like, you know, the practice of journalism look like a crime. So they are willing to just throw all kinds of things. Look at the prolonged trial, the baseless trial of Omoyele Sowore. What for? Just that he used the word revolution. And these people could not substantiate it. That made me remember an encounter I had with a senator. You know, in this Fourth Republic. He's late now.
Okay.
There was a story. Then I was at the Punch. You know, we did a story concerning a governor, you know, who was impeached. How the governor, you know, reached out, asked him to reach out to senators, you know, and lobby them to reject the attempt by Obasanjo to impose a state of emergency. You know, impose emergency rule on his state. The senator went to court on the basis of the word lobby. I was now sent to comb the National Library, comb different places, you know, to get the root word of lobby. And his contention was that the story said lobby, he used the word lobby in the sense, in his own interpretation, in the sense of passing financial inducements to senators. And we said that was not the case.
So for him, lobby is tantamount to inducement.
Yes, inducement.
Whereas in the Western world, politicians
lobbying is even a lawful activity. In America,
Oh, yeah.
lobbies are registered. And there have been calls for the Nigerian National Assembly to register, to pass a law registering
protecting
lobbies.
lobbyists.
Yes. And Nigerian politicians even use lobbies abroad. He went to the Federal High Court, but the court threw out his case. That you don't have to take your own interpretation of a word. You must find a root meaning and what it is used for. And this is a media house. So you can now see how this assault on intellectual freedoms, assault on freedom of thought evolved to the point of using brawn.
Emeka, I rather like that phrase, freedom of thought, you know, as opposed to a freedom of expression.
Yes.
They are two different things.
Expression must come from critical thinking.
Yeah.
That's one side of it. But let us look at the other side. I think too, journalists in some respects have also been maybe reckless to some extent. And the sad thing is that the profession has been infiltrated by quacks, by people who should have no business with journalism. So you just sometimes you hear that a journalist has been arrested. And then when you begin to dig into, you see that this person has no business with journalism. You even read the story. You just wonder, why would somebody put something like this? We were taught in journalism that use any story where you cannot attach a voice. Be very circumspect with such a story. Before you say sources, be very circumspect. But these days, even the mainstream media can write a story of 20, 30 paragraphs with sources, not a single attribution.
Cyril, we talk about curing the cause, not necessarily the effect. Let's start from the top. You don't think it is time leadership was schooled in recruitment of spokespersons? You know, media advisors will come into the fore here. The governor, the president recruits known men and women who have acquitted themselves in the business. But an environment where just anybody in the name of journalism gets recruited, it's not really good for the business. If you see where I'm coming from.
Yes, it's not good. Citizen, well, truth be told, I want to imagine that if you're recruiting somebody to work as a media assistant, as a publicist, then the function has moved from journalism, strictly sensu, to public relations.
Okay.
Or to marketing.
Or media relations, media management.
Or media management.
Image management.
Which is more or less, yes, a sort of public relations. So what we broadly call integrated marketing communication. So whether journalists should switch from journalism to that other side of things. You know that all of these are happening in a social milieu where sometimes borders are not so easily delineated. So you can easily move and crisscross. So let's put that on the table first. Then number two is the fact that I'm worried because the quality of the collective thoughts or thinking of any society is only the quality of its journalism.
Okay.
Because journalism is the only guaranteed medium that speaks in the public mind on a daily basis, on an ongoing, continuous basis. In some cases, on a continuous, ceaseless basis. So we must take great care to be sure that whatever is being churned out of that medium is the best that can be churned out.
That's it.
Time.
Yeah.
Now the problem is that the coming on of technology has awarded people power without responsibility. Power can be awarded anywhere, but responsibility comes here in the classroom or from tutelage, which a lot of them have. And then, arguably also because the pressure on power is always enormous, you find that some of the mainstream media houses now have thrown caution to the wind, have not been able to think innovatively, have not been able to stay ahead of the curve. If you compare Nigeria and the West, Times Magazine, Financial Times, Times of Newsweek, the New York Times, which is like the doing of them all, and all the major, even in India and Israel, these papers have continued to evolve and stay ahead of the curve.
Yes.
One of the
more so in the 21st century.
Yes, and one of the things you notice is that if you went to New York Times now and you wanted to read up their obituary of Azikiwe or even Haile Selassie, you will find it in its original form. Well, maybe here and there a little bit of alteration in the rest of
the idea is not to mess up your time here. In Nigeria, if you wanted the voices of late Awolowo, Zik, and you will have to go to the BBC.
Yes,
it's no longer here.
Yes, so I mean, somebody was shooting a movie called October 1, and had to go to London to get the artifacts
insects
of Nigerian history. So this is where we are,
which is a curious development.
Now, my concern is that in the blogosphere, as much as in the mainstream media, the first problem we have today is a terrible
mishmash
and aridity. You know when it says something is arid, that the landscape is arid of, is that bystanders, wayfarers, passers-by, all kinds of characters have thrown themselves into the profession.
Good. Does it not tally with what Emeka said earlier on? The invasion of the discipline by charlatans and
politicians. I was a friend of mine told me last night that there's a government who appointed a tailor, a garment maker, as the chief press secretary. Just that the guy, had been writing things in favor of the governor, attacking, had been, attacking the governor's opponents. And the governor made him a chief press secretary. How do you expect such a person to appreciate the power of critical thinking? They don't appreciate what it takes to manage the image of the governor. And I said, no wonder, the governor, has been having a hard time, defending the things he's doing.
Yeah.
So there are instances where you even help some of these people, managing the image of different different politicians, public office holders, and you tell them this. But there is this idea that when you get into office, you must be an oppressor of the people, you must be an adversary of the people, and you must be someone who uses your power to punish the people.
Emeka, that idea is not written anywhere.
It's sadly the Nigerian, a Nigerian thing. It's a Nigerian thing, and that's why you see the police. The same police that when their salaries are delayed, when they are not paid, when they are not paid the allowances,
or their entitlement,
when they are even denied of promotion, they run to the media.
Yeah.
They run to the media.
This same media.
The same media. Now, it's the same journalist you raise your hand to beat. And then you forget one thing, that tomorrow you will be up, you will remove that uniform. But the journalist will continue to possess his pen.
We must underscore the element of recruitment, both sides. The police, the journalist. What type of people get recruited into the police? That's something.
The other thing is this.
No. If you understand
very well, no. We've sacrificed merit for mediocrity. That's across all sectors. Now, the politicians, those in power have been told time and again that there's a media ombudsman headed by a former MD of the Guardian newspapers, Emeka Izeze. That if you have any issue, take it to the ombudsman. Don't just go to court or go and abduct a journalist. No. Take the matter to the ombudsman. The ombudsman is made up of seasoned, highly experienced journalists who will look at any issue, and then they also act as mediators. But you use your power, you abuse your power, you go and get somebody arrested for nothing. Then the police, in their overzealousness, after arresting the person, they start looking for charges. You hear things like treasonable felony, which actually you can never ever prove. It has not been established. You say people were waving flags. You say that's treasonable felony. I wonder at times the thought paralysis in power, because you just wonder that how can waving a flag
constitute?
Then go to churches, go to even government parks, public parks, where you see flags, and then start arresting them. Begin from governors, even from Abuja, from different places where different flags or different start arresting people. So it shows you that you cannot even.
Emeka and Cyril, in the United States of America, when a situation gets to where you have to plead the Fifth Amendment, you know what it is.
Yes.
And so have we amended our ground norm, constitution to that extent? So let's go back to the MRA concern. Police harassment of journalists and impunity. Yes, quackery in this business is as tendentious as quackery in medicine. When you hear a quack doctor, obviously anything is possible. So looking on the inside, Cyril, reinventing the media, the business of journalism, reinventing itself. There's the need for it now as we speak.
Yes, there is. And frankly speaking, I would like to think that both the security agents, the DSS and police, and journalists are actually working to achieve the same aim. Right? This past Sunday now, the person that was arrested or taken into custody for 6 hours was Adejuwon Soyinka. Now, no matter how much of investigations a journalist wants to undertake, people like the DSS and police intelligence also have information to an extent. If what somebody was working on had evidence to a certain corruption or certain problem, the police and DSS ostensibly should know better. Should even have more information than the person might have on occasion.
That's an assumption.
Well, it's an assumption. It's a healthy assumption, right? Yes, because it is a stock in trade intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the question then comes, because of course, the case of Kemi Adeosun, former finance minister, shall I say, who fled Nigeria after she was let off by President Muhammadu Buhari. The DSS clears people who want to become ministerial. Didn't they see the lacuna in our documentation?
Okay.
Even though some people raised it.
Good. Now, we took a journalist to make a story out of it, and then she had to be let go from her post. This is where I'm going. If you arrested somebody, because all the people that they've ever arrested and jailed in a lateral extrajudicially, just jail them, just put them behind bars, no trial, maybe they've even gone missing and so on. They have never been able to prove that those people are working on false stories or anything like that. They don't prove it. It is always just about detaining, questioning, seizing passports, seizing documents, threatening them.
I was even surprised that the DSS even admitted that it arrested Soyinka. In times past, the DSS said, no. We just invited him, just to answer some questions.
So
but to now admit
that they are so the methods are changing, and this speaks to a larger erosion of values in Nigeria.
Yes.
Otherwise, the DSS would have approached matter. Like I said, you arrested someone. Okay, so what did you find? Because even if you didn't know before, you now had that journalist was working on the story or whatever made it arresting. Even if somebody lodged a complaint with you, what did your own investigation find? There was a Premium Times reporter who was invited by the police for an interview. He was working on a story pertaining to land, okay? And they sent my SMS and said, "Should just come." It became a story on their page. They published the story and said, and like they took the case to the public immediately. I don't think that young man got the thing that maybe they were planning for him to get. So, if as police or DSS, you want to arrest them, because what is not, they don't arrest. Sure, in case now he's being arrested, we're not there. But they act like the Gestapo. They come, they whisk people away. We need to let them know that you
break into people's
homes
for nothing,
harass them. And Citizen Jones, the problem, you see, if we understand that there's a reason judges have the powers they have. They say that even if a judge was drunk, as long as he has picked up the gavel and made a pronouncement, it stands.
Yeah.
Good. Now, journalism being described as the fourth estate of the realm, must have certain latitudes of liberty to do its work. You know why? Because you must understand.
Emeka talked about poetic license.
Yes, because the moment you shrink, you suffocate that space, the consequence will reverberate. You are suffocating public thought, you are suffocating public expression, you are suffocating the ability of society to think for itself. Because democracy was not meant for leaders who govern over themselves. Even leaders who govern over people who are thinking, who can also contribute and give feedback. Because democracy is a movement of the people and for the people. So if the people you are governing cannot think, cannot give you critical feedback, cannot relate with you, it means it can't.
Gentlemen, permit me to bring up this stuff rather painfully though. The story of the bombing of Delegiwa. It comes into sharp focus here.
It does.
You know, so was Delegiwa doing his job when he was killed in the line of duty? Have we done anything about it?
Well,
how many years on?
Well, very sadly, there have been, bits here
and there's been Bagauda Kalto. Somewhere in
Tunde Oladipo, who was killed in front of his wife and 3 children in Abeokuta. After his vehicle was stolen somewhere in Lagos. So you see, the sad thing is that journalism is a thankless job. One, journalists are viewed with suspicion and envy. Because,
the political class does not trust the journalist.
They actually envy the journalists more than even the issue of trust. Because I went for an editors conference, some time back in New York, so we were discussing, fellow editors. And I was saying, no, I'm not a powerful man. And somebody said, what do you mean? That you can poke your fingers in the eyes of the president and you are saying you are not powerful. That do you know how the political class, the ruling class, how they view journalists? They look at you that, you can walk into anywhere, you can, break protocol, you can even get the president for an on-the-spot interview anyway. But they cannot. Some of them, they even have been trying to see the president for the past 6 months and not been able to. But you can actually gain access. So some of these people is actually out of envy. Then a sense of inferiority complex. If you be journalist, and so what? You be this. And I look at some of them. As if I take an action against you, you will lose your job. Because one, you would have forgotten about what happened. What I will do is I will wait. There may come a time, maybe you may need to be considered for one promotion or one thing or the other. It may be 5, 10, 20 years. But I have my facts. And I'll refer to it that you are an improper and unfit person for that position.
As they say regarding that, whereas everybody is entitled to his opinion, everybody is not entitled to his facts or her facts.
Yeah, okay. I give you an example of, there are different examples, but one thing I'll say, for the sake of time is that journalists should continue to do their job. They should continue to uphold the truth. Then they should also be fair to all sides.
Except, Emeka, sorry. Yes, journalists must continue to do their job. As we were all taught, every story must answer the 4 W's and 1 H.
Yes.
So it is done.
The elements must be there. And then, like they tell, like we're taught, journalism 101, when in doubt,
leave out.
Yes. There's no story worth dying for. There's no story you must, put your life at stake for.
Can we quickly inject the specter of fake news or what they call alternative facts here?
The thing is that the government is actually the key purveyor of fake news. Yes. I remember a Minister of Information, I said it at a public forum, I said Minister of Information in this country who said the president was, let me quote him, hale, hearty, and doing well. A few months later, the same president came back from medical treatment abroad and said, I've never been so sick in my life.
I would have died.
I was very sick, I would have died. So what do you call that? I challenged him, he's up till that. He has not responded. He's my friend. He has not said anything. So I just decided not to, embarrass him or hang it as a medal of the sun on his neck. But the thing is that, you see, in dealing with fake news, the government must take the media as a partner in progress.
Government
very important.
must
You
have tread softly.
Yeah, you also have the freedom. You have the Freedom of Information Act. You have the Freedom of Information Act. So the government must be willing to provide information. Hiding behind national interest, security will not cut it, because somehow or the other, that story you think you will not give that journalist, somebody, somewhere, sometime will give, in fact, will even volunteer that story. So, what do? You work, instead of harassing journalists, beating up journalists, abducting journalists. To me, that is too crude. That is crude. You can invite a journalist or go to their office. Even for no reason, you can go to a media house, say, I just, came to see you, to say hello to you, let's rub minds.
Yeah.
Because even in doing your job, we're talking of insecurity now in Nigeria. There are things that journalists know about, that those in power, even in security, don't know about. Because I can go across to insurgents, for instance. I said it a number of times, that I came across some so-called unknown gunmen in the southeast, not long ago, and my study of their body language showed that certain things were not really in place.
Yeah.
So that the government could perhaps handle this issue in a different way to get better results. So journalists can go into anywhere. They gain the trust of people. Journalists work with trust.
Sure.
So if you work with journalists, if there's any breach, you can complain.
Yeah.
You can demand, you can write, to get your own side heard. But too often, people in authority want to be judgmental and just tag something as fake news.
And whip up sentiment.
Have you provided the real news? Have you provided the true facts? Have you cooperated with the journalists to so that we can build confidence? We're not in a competition.
Yeah.
We're actually supposed to complement each other.
Not in a Gestapo environment.
Yes.
No.
Because the journalist actually can get into power tomorrow.
You never can.
And if he now applies those same powers against you, you are going to run to the same media to complain about the violation of your rights.
Yeah, all right, gentlemen, let's begin to take it home. Cyril, is it possible in 60 seconds to bury the subject matter? Do you share the concern of the MRA? And for that matter, do you think it's a two-way street? As my people say, when you talk to the chick, you talk to the hawk.
No, so in this particular instance, right, it is not about being a two-way street per se. There is a civilized code of conduct in every context or circumstance. If we want to talk to journalists, we can. There's always room for house cleaning. It's okay. But when we are fundamentalists, who punishes, who arrests or harasses government when
they err?
Yes, when they err.
That is it.
A president in this country tweeted very, very, very vile, very extreme language, very, the worst kind of hate speech you could ever think of against a particular tribe in the country. Somebody reported his handle to Twitter and he came and blocked his handle. The government retaliated by shutting Twitter down. I said, what the government is talking about hate speech. Look at what President Buhari has written. Who will apologize to Nigerians on his behalf?
Power that he was holding.
So they should never So they should never use things that we can't admit here as grounds for demanding whatever it is that they're demanding. What I would say is that it is about the media, and we must stop this Gestapo kind of operations. What if journalists has heard, you invite them, you approach the ombudsman, you let the management people also know. And I mean, because the way it is like now is like we are enemies and you are enemies. So anything anybody gets from the other party is all that you can get. I don't think it is.
And in this case, the enemy of my enemy is not my friend.
Exactly. So government should take the bold step and act the do other part. If a journalist errs, seek redress, but don't shut an entire
organ
or landscape or in the name of whatever it is you want to.
I just quickly inject something, please, ma'am. Just in 6 seconds. There was a president in this country whose CSO ordered the DSS to go and shut a prominent TV station. So when it was shot, the news, the Minister of Information was actually I think in Algeria, so it was outside the country. And he was called that, who shot? He called the National Security Advisor. That was said he was out of the country, he never knew about it. He was calling different people, nobody. Until somehow somebody just whispered to him that it was the Chief Security Officer to the President. And I wonder who gave him the powers? Who gave him the power to go and shot? In fact, I wish he had been put on trial and jailed, as an example. Because, why? What for? Because he said this, did you do a memo? Normally, you should have done a memo to the National Security Advisor, then copy the Minister of Information.
Yeah.
But because you felt Chief Security Officer, so what? And so what? You're nothing more than a glorified megad. You're nothing more than just a glorified security man to the president.
By extension, I remember a president in this country ordered the hemming in of a state governor. Yes. And an assistant inspector general who spearheaded it later died.
If you even also cast your mind back to the late 70s, was it Amakri? Okay. And the one military administrator then, who is now a traditional ruler.
Yeah.
I think the story about the shaving of the head of his head.
He told me about the story personally and said the man became his in-law.
75.
So you can see that this world is a small place. We are like water. We flow into each other. So don't take the media as partners
in progress. Yeah.
Know one thing. You are doing a job to earn a living. The journalist is also doing a job to earn a living. If you misuse your powers against the journalists, you never know where you people actually have a connection.
Yes.
If you do that, who reports you tomorrow?
So let people actually, those in power, exercise their powers responsibly. Let those in the media too exercise restraint, so that we can all work together for a better society.
But those on this side must not just exercise restraint, go after the facts. If you are sure of your facts, go to town.
Yeah, but also trying to bury information. That is actually why you see government repressing journalists. When they know that this thing is the truth, you see them trying to bury the information. And these days, sadly, the judiciary lends itself to helping these things to happen. They'll just go to court and get a restraining order. And the court will say maintain the status quo.
Yeah.
What does it mean to maintain the status quo? That the story should not be looked into. And then when you continue that in a number of cases, one day something will be done against the judiciary.
Yeah. Okay.
And you will say the status quo should be maintained, and that will also infringe and impugn the dignity of the judiciary.
All right, folks, we must apply the brakes here, but not before thanking Emeka Madonagu for your intervention and Cyril Abaku for your angle.
My pleasure.
Well, let the debate continue from your part of town, but the MRA, a media rights agenda, has set an agendum for us. We must interrogate it. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein, and so on behalf of the Backroom Boys, I say thank you for your time. Bye-bye now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.